Alright, happy Friday, Algebra 2. So, composition of functions. So I just call this 5.5 and a half. Instead of calling it day 2, I just call it 5.5 and a half because it's just something that we need to know, and it will definitely help you whenever you get to pre-calc and go from there. All a composition of a function is just a function of a function. So whenever you have f of x equal to something, okay, I'll just make up some random, if you ever have like f of x is equal to 4x minus 9, and it would say to evaluate f of negative 3. So what would we do? Well, we would take the negative 3, and for every, since this was an x, the negative 3 became the x. So wherever there was an x, I would just plug it in, and I would have 4 times negative 3. Okay, so what I'm essentially doing is taking that parenthesis, and instead of it being an x, I'm putting it as the whole thing and then going minus 9. So I'd have negative 12 minus 9, and I would get negative 21. I'm doing the same thing whenever I find a composition of a function. Okay, a composition of a function is just a function of a function. So I'm going to take one function, and for every spot, okay, that there is an x or whatever my variable is, I am going to plug this in and go from there. So if it says that I have two functions, I have f of x is equal to 2x plus 3, and I have g of x is equal to x squared plus 5. So if it's f of g of x, so all I'm going to do is take what I have. So I'm going to take my g of x, and instead of writing f of g of x, I'm going to write f of, and then I'm going to have x squared plus 5. So whenever I do that, if I take it, so if f of x is 2x plus 3, all I'm going to do is take the 2, and every time I'm just going to take what's circled in red, and I'm going to plug it in for that x that I have right here. So I'm going to have 2 times x squared plus 5, and then I'm just going to tack on the plus 3 on the back end. Okay, this was, remember, my original function was 2x plus 3. All I did was take my new function that I have in here, instead of it being f of x, and there's the x, it's f of x squared plus 5. So all I did was take this x and just replace it with x squared plus 5. Now, I'm not finished because I still need to distribute. So I need to distribute the 2. So I'm going to have 2x squared plus 10 plus 3. Combine like terms of anything that I have left. So 2x squared plus 13. Now, that's one part. So it says to find the domain. Domain is just all real numbers. So I did the composition. Domain doesn't change. All real. Okay, negative infinity to positive infinity, whatever you want to call it. And then evaluate when x is equal to 9. So now I'm going to take the 9 into my new. So if I have f of 9, okay, and really this is more of, so whatever I have, so I'm just going to take my 9, so evaluate it when x is equal to 9. So if I have 2 times 9 squared plus 13, so 2 times 81 plus 13, 162 plus the 13 is going to give me 175. Now, moving on. Now, this one is g of f of x. So it's the same functions. My functions didn't change up top. Okay, but now I'm going to take the f of x and I'm going to slide it in where there's an x for the g of x. So I'm going to have g of 2x plus 3. So then this is going to go into, so if g of x was originally x squared plus 5, this whole thing is going to go into the squared part. So it just gets replaced. So instead of x squared, I'm going to have 2x plus 3 squared plus 5. Now, I need to square 2x plus 3. This is still a kind of an issue because I'm still only seeing like just 2x squared. If you can't do the shortcut and you need to do 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3, do that, please. Because a lot of you, what I'm seeing is 4x. I'm still seeing 4x squared plus 9 when it should be 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. You're forgetting that middle step of taking the excuse me, the middle, the 2 and the 2x and the 3 and the 3 and the 2x, and multiplying those two together. Or you're not taking 2x times 3 and then doubling it here. Okay, you're just squaring the first term, squaring the second term, and rolling with it. Okay, that's a silly mistake that we don't need to make here. Don't forget the plus 5 at the end. So then my final answer is just going to be 4x squared plus 12x plus 14. Domain doesn't change. Domain, again, you can write as all real numbers. You can say negative infinity to positive infinity. And then I would evaluate for when x is equal to 9. Okay. Last one, if it's f of x, I'm just going to plug the function into itself. So if I have f of x, all I'm going to do, I'm just going to take, it's really just f of 2x plus 3. So if f of x is 2x plus 3, I'm going to have 2 times 2x plus 3 plus 3. Distribute 4x plus 6 plus 3, 4x plus 9. Domain is still all real numbers. Okay, so negative infinity to positive infinity. Evaluate it. 9 times 4, 36 plus 9, 45. All right, you've only got the 10 questions. They're on Canvas, so you should be good to go. Take your time, pay attention to what goes inside of which function, and kind of go for there. We'll see you on Monday.